Every time I tried to sell AI, I got treated like spam. I hit send, the message logged clean on my screen, then it landed on theirs and went dead. Sin. No type bubble, no reaction, just that quiet little check mark, and nothing after it. I stare at it like it owns me. An answer. My stomach drops. I start rewriting the message in my head before they even speak. It suddenly feels like I handed them a chore. I close the laptop, open it again. Still nothing. And then I noticed the one detail I couldn't unsee. Hi, I'm Chris, founder of Execution Squad. I built 600,000 in 1 year through an AI automation agency and consulting. Now I run an execution squad that helps early-stage AI service founders get their first 5 clients and build a simple system they can repeat. Even after building 6 figures in a year, I still got ignored the moment my message felt like work. I used to think detail would make me look legit, so I dumped the whole workflow, the whole context, the whole explanation. The more I typed, the happier it felt, like I was handling a stranger homework. I've also been the guy who works hard in private and still has nothing in public, policing, tweaking, rewriting, refreshing, waiting for anything outside my screen to move. So I'm not guessing when I talk about being ignored. I've lived that part. That's why I'm picky about what you say first. And I realized the problem. You learn a tool, you build a demo. For a moment, it feels like you're finally catching up, like you've got something real in your hands. Then something new drops, a feature, a template, a new way people are doing it, and your brain grabs it like a rope. Not because you need it, but because it lets you reset without admitting you are stuck. You tell yourself you're being responsible, staying current, improving quality, getting ready. What you're really doing is buying time. So you go back into private work, you open the doc again, you tighten the headline, and you rewrite the first line 3 different ways. You delete all 3. You change the order of the bullets. You change it back. You swap words that mean the same thing just to fill motion. And finally, you tell yourself, one more pass, then I will send it. But one more pass is infinite because done would mean you have to put it in front of someone who can ignore it. That's the loop. Private work feels safe because it's controllable. You can always find a reason to keep going. There's always something you can improve. The moment you stop improving, the next thing is exposure. And exposure is the real cost, not effort in private. You got to be competent. In public, you got to be measured, so you stay inside the build where nothing can reject you, because you can't spend hours without risking a single second of embarrassment. That's why it's dangerous. It pays you in relief. You end the day tried, and tried feels like you earned something. Your brain gives you credit because you did a lot of activity. The market gives you nothing because none of it touched the market. That silence turns into a second problem. When nothing reacts, you can't locate the issue. You don't know if the offer is unclear, if the message is weak, if the timing is wrong, if the audience is wrong, or if you are simply asking the wrong person. With no signal, everything becomes a possible mistake. So you start changing everything. You rewrite the offer. You reposition the niche. You swap the promise. You add more detail to make it clear. The weird part is the reason you keep adding detail. Detail feels like protection. If you include every step, every context line, every edge case, then in your head, you can't be misunderstood. If someone doesn't like it, it's because they didn't read carefully. If they don't respond, it's because they are not serious. If they reject it, it's because they don't get it yet. Detail becomes a shield for your identity. It lets you believe the thing is smart, even if nobody touches it. It also lets you avoid the hardest sentence in the world, the sentence where you say what you do in plain language with no padding. To a stranger, detail is homework. Homework gets ignored. So you get ghosted and you go right back into the build. And here's the 7-day solution. If you want to break the loop, you need a week that can be almost done. You need rules. So you're small, you can't argue with them. You're going to run one simple week. 7 days, one target, one link, one message, same reps every day. No upgrades, no new tool, no quick tweak, just the week. Tonight, you set up a week that produces signal. Even if it feels uncomfortable, you're not building a better plan. You're building a week you can actually finish. Start with a 10-minute timer and write one target line. Business type in area. Talking to role. When the timer ends, it's locked for 7 days. No edit, no smart change. If you touch it midweek, you turn everything into noise and you go back to guessing. Right after that, set a 60-minute timer and pick the single link you will send all week. One link, not a stack, not options, one. If you already have a booking link, use it. If you don't, make a small list thing that makes the next step obvious in under 1 minute. A 1 minute page or a 1 minute Google document or a 1 minute video. When the timer ends, it ships exactly as it is. No extra cleanup, no design, no I will polish it later. Later is where this die. Now set a 15-minute timer and write the only message you're allowed to use for 7 days. 2 short lines plus the link. That's it. Save it. Somewhere you can copy and paste in 3 seconds. When the timer ends, you stop. You do not rewrite it because it feels awkward. Awkward is fine. Quiet is worse. The message has the one job. Make reply easy. That means line 1 checks you have the right person. Line 2 points the link. Nothing else, no resume, no backstory, no teaching. Your goal this week is replies, not approval. Replies turns fog into facts. Before you sleep tonight, build a small list so tomorrow morning can't become prep mode. Give yourself 30 minutes and collect 20 leads that match your target line. 20 is enough to start. If you collect 200, you will feel productive and still not send. Stop at 20. Save them. Close the laptop. Tomorrow, the rule is simple. By 12 p.m. local time, you send 10 messages. Not sometime, noon. Put on alarm for 11:30 a.m. right now. When the alarm hits, you send. If you miss noon, you still send 10 before you do anything else. Before food, before gym, before one quick fix, 10 comes first. After you send the 10, you walk away. You do not refresh. You do not stare at the thread. You do not rewrite the message at night. Night edits are panic in a nicer. If your hand itch to change something, write the idea in a note called next week. Then leave it. You're allowed to collect ideas. You're not allowed to break the test. Day 2 is the same. 10 by noon, same target, same message, same link. Do not negotiate with yourself. If you negotiate, you will lose. This is supposed to feel boring. Boring is stable. Stable gives you clean signal. And day 3 is where most people fell apart. The silence starts to feel loud. So your brain offers you an escape. A new angle, a new tool, a new feature, a new target, a new landing page. It will feel smart and urgent. It is the loop trying to protect you. The move is simple. You do not change anything. You send your 10 by noon anyway. Therefore, you send your 20 by noon again. And you add follow-up number 1 for everyone you messaged on day 2. Follow-up number 1 is 1 line. Not a new pitch, not an extra context. 1 line that makes replying easy. Something like quick check. Are you the right person for this? Then stop. No extra sentence. And day 5, you send your 10 by noon again. And you send the follow-up number 1 to anyone you messaged on day 3. Same 1 line. Keep it clean. Keep it light. Your follow-up is not where you prove yourself. Your follow-up is where you remove friction. And day 6, you send your 10 by noon again. And repeat until day 7. Now the reply rule. Because this is where people start lecturing and kill momentum. When someone replies, you take 1 step. 1. You do not dump the workflow. You do not explain your whole process. You keep it small so they can keep moving. If they reply, what is this? You answer in 1 line and ask 1 yes or no question. 1 line like, it's a simple way to make sure new inquiries get a fast reply and a clean next step. Then 1 question like, are you the person who decides on this, yes or no? That's it, no more. The key rule is stable. You do not change the target, the message or link during the week, not even a small tweak. If you change it, you reset the test and you buy yourself another week or confusion. If you feel the urge to fix, you write it down for next week and still send your 10 to 20 by noon. At the end of day 7, you make 1 change. 1, not 10. Not a full rebuild. 1 change gives you a real test. Changing everything keeps you stuck forever with feeling busy. Pick the 1 change based on what happened. If replies are coming but clicks are dead, next week you change only the link. If clicks are happening but calls are not booking, next week you change only the next step wording. 1 more change, then you run the exact same week again. If you didn't hit the sends, you don't blame the market. You fix the wrap size. Drop it to 5 by noon if you need to. But you keep the rule, the same time, same week, same stability. The goal is not to impress yourself. The goal is to finish clean wraps. Alright, let me land this. If you keep doing private work, you never get a real answer. You only get opinions, your own opinions. That's a trap, because your brain will always find a reason to keep improving instead of sending. The market doesn't care how clean it looks on your screen. The market only talks back when you put something in front of it. And if you don't do that, you stay stuck in the same story. Maybe it's the niche, maybe it's the offer, maybe it's the copy. You don't know, so keep changing random parts. So stop treating outreach like a big event. Make it small, make it normal. one target, one step, then you let people react. Replies are not a reward. Replies are data. Even a hard no is useful because it stops you from guessing. Then you act like an operator. You don't panic. You don't rebuild everything. You change one thing after the week is done and you run it again. That's how you stop spinning. That's how you actually move. One last thing, join the deep dive this Friday at 1 p.m. Click the link, show up live, send your first message that day.